I really like to take traditional styling of objects, then add something that's kind of wacky to it. I don't take myself too seriously. I feel the happiest when I see beautiful things around me, and I want a lot of beautiful things. Hi, I'm Erika, and this is my HGTV home tour in York, Pennsylvania. So I am from West Virginia, and I was surrounded by very strong, hardworking women, and I wanted to create something to honor them. Originally, I had found some really beautiful vintage printed wallpaper. So it has all of these different scenes of, people typically outside doing things. And while they were beautiful, they didn't really, resonate with me personally. So I decided to create one. I found Rachel Ettinger, and she was ecstatic over the idea of the project. She has as much love for Appalachian culture as I do. I really wanted the wallpaper to look kind of like a quilt on the wall. Each scene is something that was based off of my childhood. For example, there's one where it's like they're in the water. That is a picture of the swimming hole that I was baptized in. Or this one right here, this is gardening, which is something I did almost every single day with my grandmother growing up. It's like the ultimate kind of coming home to myself, because where I'm from, it's very, very beautiful. It's like heaven on earth in certain places. So I made the wallpaper as kind of a love letter to Appalachian women. It's a beautiful daily reminder to keep pursuing my dreams because they were not afforded the same type of opportunities. I've always been this way. I can remember being 4 years old and going to someone's house and seeing kind of like a cow print ottoman. I still like cow print ottomans. I just have distinct memories of design. And so as I've gotten a little older, gotten more confident, things have gotten more colorful. And I've been more experimental with things. This is a good reflection of where I am, within personal growth. I've seen several photos where they have sconces hung above their couch, and I think that it looks super cozy. And also we have a smaller space, so we don't have a ton of room for, side tables and lamps and whatnot. So I got these, they're brass. They're very heavy, and this is mirrored. I got these at Second Chance in Baltimore, and I believe that they are over 100 years old, but I did rewire them to make them plug-in sconces. One thing that I like to do, especially in rooms where I have tons of color, is to incorporate natural elements, such as this jute rug. And then we have rattan rocking chair. I'm not a huge brown wood fan, so I try to incorporate it in other ways. So here's the fireplace. This is not original to the home, and I do think that it's too big. So I kind of try to camouflage it as much as possible by kind of color washing it, kind of making it kind of sink in. And I had my husband add these wood pieces to kind of give the optical illusion that it was a little skinnier than what it actually is. I'm a big Christmas fan, and this is a vintage Avon bottle it looks like a vintage indent ornament. Another theme, I guess, that I have is cupids or little cherubs. So I have them here on this Italian fishbowl planter. And we have the two little cupid shelves. I got those for $1. I really wanted the space to feel very cozy. I do have 3 kids, so I can't have anything too precious in this house. I wanted it to feel like somewhere that we could snuggle up and watch a movie together. And it is so fun to see my kids picking themselves out in the wallpaper pattern, picking out the different little elements of where I come from. So that was the living room. Come with me into the dining room and kitchen area. When we first bought the house, this was an entirely separate space from the kitchen. Right here where I'm standing was where the wall originally was that we tore down. There were these little weird, saloon doors that went into the dining room that made no sense. We decided to open this up and put in kind of a little peninsula island so we could have some additional seating. So I think everything in this space was thrifted. I know I got the table on Facebook Marketplace for $65 and the chairs Facebook Marketplace and the rug on Facebook Marketplace for $35. So you can decorate well on a budget because I do it all the time. I try to be as thrifty as possible. It started out because I couldn't afford to buy anything new. But now, like, I really care about the environment, and old stuff is cooler. So these cabinets we bought secondhand. We actually went and bought an entire kitchen of used cabinets, and the price was crazy affordable. These are really, really good quality custom cabinets too. They're all solid wood. My husband cut the backs off of them and then modified them to be the right depth. And this is gonna add so much storage for like board games, kids' craft supplies, all the things that were like overflowing the tiny little cabinet we had here previously. This is the window seat. I love this window seat. This is original to the house. I wanted to use this as extra seating for when we dine. So I covered the cushions with really durable fabric. One of the reasons I went with yellow for this space was because it reminded me of kind of like a 90s country farmhouse feel. If you look back at magazines, there's like a lot of warm tones. When I met my husband, he was in the process of buying this house already. It was in rough shape. There was like a drop tile ceiling, and underneath of that was just like a completely crumbling plaster ceiling. So we took all of that out, and the mess, I mean, I'm talking like a foot of just debris. The whole time we've lived here, it's been a renovation process, except for with one bedroom. We've touched everything in this house. Everything has been changed. So welcome to the kitchen. I don't think that there are a ton of rules when it comes to homes, but I like for kitchens to be timeless. I do love like the mid-century modern type of vibe, but I really like the like 1920s, 1930s, which this house kind of, fits. So I knew that I wanted shaker cabinets and an apron sink. So we decided to go with soapstone. We bought it from a discount supplier and it looks great. This is the sink that we put in during the OG renovation 11 years ago, and I still love it. It's my favorite. We did replace the faucet. We went with an unlacquered brass, and I did remove the butt doors underneath here to kind of make a little cutesy vibe with the gingham vintage curtains. These are the cabinets that we put in 10 years ago. I still love them. This is the hardware that we got back then. This is, time period, classic, timeless. This is an Art Deco. This was actually the top. There was a bottom that came with it, but it no longer fits the space. But I wanted to keep it because it reminds me of like a coffin. So I am gonna put my spices and loose teas in here. This is antique Vaseline glass here on the pendant lights. And this light over here, my daughter told me, reminded her something that would be in my grandma's house, which that's the whole point. I like to incorporate some things that are kind of tacky almost, like kind of like toe the line to keep things fun and not so serious. So we have the Kit Kat clock, and I found these vintage curtains on Etsy. They were really, really cheap, and I think that it's just a nice surprise. I like to do things that are unexpected. This was secondhand. I've always wanted a retro looking refrigerator, and this is a big chill fridge that we found on Facebook Marketplace for like a quarter of the price that they are new. So we went and got that. I wanted the kitchen to feel like a place that you're gonna come home and there's gonna be like a cozy home cooked meal waiting for you, or cookies, or making cookies with your children. So that was the kitchen, and let's go see what we've done upstairs. My dream bathroom is one of those vintage bathrooms that has the colored tile, and I love when they have different color tile around the doorway and around the perimeter. So I tried to emulate that effect because I know that sourcing vintage tile is difficult and time consuming, and it would break my heart to know that someone rips it out in the future. Because we have a pedestal sink, we don't have much storage, and 5 of us share this bathroom. So I found this on Facebook Marketplace, and it came from a hospital. I believe this was from the early 1900s. And it's super heavy, super sharp. My husband and I like tore the ceiling up on the stairs, bringing it up here. So he cut out part of the windowsill and secured it to the wall. So this will have to stay here forever. I do like to add something kitschy to every room. So I found these adorable little fish and bubbles on Facebook Marketplace. So that's our cozy bathroom. And now let's go to the bedroom. Welcome to my bedroom. I call this the Pink Palace. I added this really cool canopy. These are just plain curtains that I got on Amazon, and I did cut them and layer them. I added 3 layers of these tassels and the velvet ribbon to kind of create like a stripe effect. I also added velvet ribbon to this vintage headboard that I got to kind of make it feel a little more punchy. I got the inspiration for the canopy on Pinterest when I was looking at English cottage homes, except for they were a lot more grand. So I kind of try to keep things a little more casual. This is not vintage chenille. This was gifted to me, but it is super cozy, and I love that it reminds me of staying at my grandma's house. This quilt, you would not believe how hard it is to find a pink floral quilt that's not $200. So I got this on Amazon and I dyed it with Rit dye. So the chandelier I made about 5 years ago. I drew inspiration from the fringe chandeliers from the 1960s, and I wanted to incorporate pattern on mine versus being a solid color. So I ordered plain organic cotton fringe so that I could dye it myself and, you know, create my own formulas. And so I did all of that and hand cut everything. We used real unlacquered brass. So one of the things about having like a pink palace bedroom is having a glamorous vanity to sit at and do your makeup. And I've always wanted one. My great grandma had one when I was growing up, and I would always play in her makeup. So I finally got one at 32. I got this for $100 and fully worth it. It's like I love how the mirror is so big, and I found this little ottoman like footstool on Facebook Marketplace, and actually my grandparents had the same one when I was a kid. I found this weird little chair at a consignment store, and then I just recovered it with this really beautiful poppy block print fabric. Growing up, I really loved the show Gilmore Girls, and there is one scene in one episode where it's like a dream scene, and in this dream she has this Hello Kitty alarm clock, and I've wanted it since I've been 12 years old. So I bought it for myself on eBay a couple months ago. So these mirrors are actually plastic. I got them on Facebook Marketplace, and they were like really ugly, brown, very cheap looking. So I covered them with Rub and Buff, and I think it gives off kind of a swanky Hollywood Regency vibe into the room. One of my favorite things to do is to take something that's really affordable and accessible and to make it look like something that's very elevated and expensive. I really love this room because of the feminine nature. I've always loved pink and been very girly, but I've also been kind of judged for being like that. And I fully just let myself go wild and lean into that side of myself in here. I'm not sure what my style is. It's very eclectic, obviously, very maximalist. I like to have a lot of things. I hope that I inspire other people to be more daring and to do more fun things in their home. I would sum up my redesign as coming home to myself. I think that I really tried to things that I loved as a child and honor my culture, honor my heritage. I think that that's really important. At least for me, it's really important. No one's house should look the same because no one else is you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to HGTV Home for more tours like this. Thanks for stopping by.